The BFI British Transport Films collection has been going for quite a few years, with the latest 2 editions being released in late 2019. The first in the series, On and Off the Rails, is a varied collection of mainly 1950s and 60s films. Like most of the series, the films are of interest to all, especially those people who like post-war history of transport in the UK. So let's take a look at Disc 1, On the Rails. Blue Pullman. Among rail enthusiasts, this is quite a well-known film. It is a view of the Blue Pullman, showing the trials of the locomotive in the first half of the movie, with extensive shots both in workshops and out on the rails. The direction changes in the second half, with a trip on the new train, showcasing the interior with its lavish seating and attentive butler-style service. It certainly did look very opulent. Unfortunately, only 10 years after coming into service, they were withdrawn, although they did prove that a fully fitted out multiple unit train could provide an intercity service, one which only a few years later would come into being with the introduction of the high-speed train in the 1970s. Elizabethan Express. A great look at a train working in the mid-1950s. As the title suggests, it follows the Elizabethan Express. However, other gems are here, such as the beginning at King's Cross, which shows part of the station and staff area, and a look at the fabulous Gresley A4 steam locomotive. There is also a look into the workshop, where the construction of the carriages are shown. In that way you can see how the inspiration for the previous video, Blue Pullman, came about. The narration is unique, mainly being done in rhyme or prose. It seems like a flowing piece of poetry, but this has proved divisive within the enthusiast community. Other notable parts show the relief of the drivers whilst the train is in motion. The cooking of food is seen in an extensive but small galley. This is a great film, and even if some of the narration is quite cheesy at times, it all adds up to an atmosphere only found in these steam days of the 1950s. Train Time. A documentary of a day in the life of British Railways in the early 1950s. All aspects of a day are here, from passenger to freight workings. A conference call is shown, and this details the day's work and any problems that may have arisen. There then follows many shots of trains, such as the Riviera Express and Brighton Belle. This montage of old trains is very well shot and narrated. Problems are seen and in the most part rectified. It is a great snapshot of how the railways were run in the days of nationalisation. As well as locomotives, good views of Totton Yard can be seen, showing its automated wagon sorting, something which is seen throughout the other British transport film volumes. We also see permanent way workings, and also how traffic is managed as delays build up across the network. The film finishes with yet another conference call. As with most of these 1950s and 60s films, it is accompanied with an orchestral soundtrack, giving it a very official feel. A superb film, lots of varied shots from across the 1950s rail transport network, and a great insight into how a day on the railway was run at the time. Rail 150. We shoot forward to 1975 with a look at the celebrations of the 150th anniversary of the railways. The celebration was held along a section of the Stockton and Darlington line, headed by a replica of Stephenson's locomotion. Many famous steam locomotives can be seen, and the film does the day justice, albeit at only 15 minutes long. It ends with the advanced passenger train still being looked at the time as the future of rail travel. A full cast list is included in the end credits, which is extremely useful indeed. The Diesel Train Driver, Part 1, Introduction. Made in 1959, this staff instructional film aims to introduce drivers to the new diesel multiple units. I always enjoy seeing these, as ordinary members of the public like myself would not have been able to see them. It gives a general overview of the diesel locomotive with footage of the varied controls combined with good cab views and some line-side shots. A very enjoyable watch, quite short at 7 minutes and with not too much in the way of commentary. On Track for the 80s. Part of the Rail Report series, this one starts off looking at freight and finishes with passenger services. Various freight workings are seen, and it is a good historical account of all the movements done by British Rail in the early 1980s. There are some good shots of Class 47s and Class 33s. In the second half, we hear about services on Sea-Link ferries and the Sea-Speed hovercraft. We also see a reenactment of the Rainhill trials, which took place in this year. It finishes with a steam train and high-speed passenger train leaving in tandem from London Paddington. We also get another view of the advanced passenger train. It's amazing this is still seen at this late stage. Overall, a great overview of all services and traction supplied by British Rail in the early 1980s. Cybernetica. This film, narrated by Michael Aspel, follows various trips around Europe and how this is achieved by the computers which run the reservation system. This system was designed to ensure that only reserved tickets were used on the railway and was interconnected throughout the continent. However, it has a very weird narrative at times, at this bit with the spoon for example. The overall message seems to be that humans have an interconnected way of making decisions, and that if the railway used this interconnectivity, things may be better for both travellers and more importantly the drivers. A look at a forerunner of the advanced warning system is displayed using a converted BSK unit, this particular one, known as Hermes, used by Electrical Research Division at Derby. Livery on this train I had not seen before. The system tells the driver of a yellow or red signal approaching, even if the driver cannot see it. It will also revert back to green when the signal clears, the purpose being not only safety, but making the train more efficient. The film continues by looking at various other systems in use through Europe. Some great views of European trains here, including the Trans-Europe Express. Hovercraft are also shown. We also get to see onboard shops, restaurants, and in a nod back to the early 20th century, a hairdresser's on board a train. There is also a look at what British Rail would introduce as the top system for freight wagons. Overall, I cannot recommend this film enough. It really does capture the computer movement of the early 1970s in the railway industry, and all this in a punchy, near 20-minute film. That concludes a look at the first disc of Volume 1 of the Transport Films collection. Coming in at 2 hours and 9 minutes, it has a good range of films covering all aspects of life on the rails. Disc 2 in this set looks at the railway mainly from a public point of view and is entitled Off the Rails. You can find this in part 2 of my review of this disc, On and Off the Rails. Many thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe.